Okay. 5:30, we're getting started. We've got a full house. Our first order of business is to accept our minutes from November 20th regular meeting. Second. Any questions, discussion, changes? Feels good to me.
I like it. Good job, Carrie.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, visitor comments and petitions. Is there anybody here?
Brian Bohannon is on the line. He would like to address something.
Go ahead, Brian.
Good evening. Oh, I guess I don't have the option to turn the picture on, otherwise you'd see the moose behind my head. But so I'm sure everybody's excited about Maine's new Paid Family Medical Leave Act, which starts accepting money in January of 2025, but does not actually start offering benefits until mid-2026. What that means for us is that since we are a municipality with 15 or more employees, we have to contribute 1% of the total pay of the town employees to this Paid Family Medical Leave Act fund. That's 1% annually. Since we have over 15 employees, we have the option of having the town employees pay half of that 1%. Having said that that's an option, I want to recommend against soaking the town employees for a 0.5% of their paychecks. Instead, suggest that the town cover it all. I understand that it's currently not budgeted for, since this, we didn't plan on this particular expense coming up. But I've generated enough extra interest income to actually cover the entire amount of the first half of next year. So we have the funds to cover this for the town employees. That way we don't have to ask for them to take a 0.5% pay cut, basically.
Great job,
Sounds
Brian.
like a nice proposal.
Yeah.
Brian, can you tell us what exactly, how much is that 1% per year? Just thinking we'll have to budget for it going forward.
Yeah, annually, I'll have to do more math to get you an exact figure, but I'm estimating it'll be underneath 20,000 per year.
Gotcha. Great. No, that sounds great, and appreciate you being so on top of it. Does anybody else have any questions, comments?
I move that we proceed with his recommendation.
Second. Any further questions, discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Brian. Anything else?
No, that was what I had tonight, except to say, Missa, your decorations are awesome.
I am winning Christmas.
Taking a
Well,
vote.
Brian, I say you come to meetings more often. I feel like every time you come, you present in a very clear manner. You generally have good news or a solution to any problem that you bring up. So you're welcome here anytime.
So you're saying I've built up enough goodwill that I can hit you with some really bad news and it's okay?
As long as you bring the solution.
Brian, you could tell them how much interest we accrued on the municipal building funds.
Oh, yeah, sure. So that was just something that I was looking at today, and something I gave to Janet. So since I worked with the bank earlier this year to increase the interest rate that we get on our unspent funds, I did a comparison of what we've earned just in the municipal building account, the donations account, what we've earned in that account with the new interest rate versus what we would have earned with the old interest rate. I squeezed an extra 21 grand out of those donations.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that would go a long way to helping the well.
That's exactly right. And you might also mention that you were finally successful in being able to register with the feds for our being able to access the $846,000.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been beating my head against that wall for several weeks now, and Health and Human Services was not very helpful or human servicing in resolving the issue. But working with Janet and Paige, because we needed some IT help to pull this off, but I was finally able to access those grant funds just today, I was finally able to sign into it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian.
Absolutely. Have a good night.
You
Have a
too.
fun meeting.
Is there anybody else here from the public that wants to address something that's not already on the agenda? All right, hearing nothing, we'll move to ferry service update. I see Peter is online, and in our packet, we have a draft letter to Commissioner Van Note, which was drafted by Peter King following us, John King, right? Peter is his son. And Peter Wilcox is online, and by John King. After a small group kind of strategy meeting to figure out the best, how to communicate how to start to communicate our many concerns to DOT. So, Peter, I see you are unmuted. Is there anything else that you want to add on ferry service update?
No, not for now, Shay. I think the letter says it all, and I'm just standing by.
Are we wanting to approve this?
Yeah, I think what we're looking for is approval so that we could sign and send this to Commissioner Van Note. And I think we talked about copying the Ferry Service Advisory Board, so they would know we're doing, the town of Lincolnville, and our state.
Chip Curry and Stanley, Page, Ziegler, and Michael Ray. I didn't know if you wanted to go to the governor with this.
Yeah.
You wanted to go to her?
I'd say go as many people as we can.
I didn't know that, but I can mail it to her. I don't have an email for her. I can get one probably, but.
Who's our senator or representative?
It's either Chip, he's the legislator, sorry, Chip, and I don't know if we know yet between Golden, of course, their state.
Yes,
Actually, that was just
Ontario.
announced.
Was it?
Yeah.
Is it Ontario?
no.
Oh,
Oh,
sure.
it's okay.
Golden, okay, all right, Golden.
I
Well,
would definitely
well-
send it to our representatives, the Senate and the legislature.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm not necessarily sold on the governor yet, only because we talked a little bit about having this be kind of one of potential several and recognizing that we likely will have to escalate it, but I am not a huge political strategist, so I could be talked either way, but that's,
I didn't know if this would be more of the, for lack of a better term, the warning shot across the bow to the governor saying, this is what's coming. And then as we have to escalate, then she can't say, I wasn't aware of it, and maybe it would help to curb it earlier.
I think that's a good argument. I can look at it the other side and say, she will know about it. You know what I mean? There's no way that she won't get a report of this. And that allows us then to escalate to sending something to the governor.
Right.
I thought you were going with it in another direction, but I think you have a good point. I just think maybe politically, strategically, it might be better to hold that back as we spoke to the commissioner.
Right, we're
We
following the
alerted
chain of
people,
command
yeah,
on
now
it.
we're sending this to you, I did notice one typo. I think it's a typo, unless I'm really mistaken.
Let me know, because Maggie sent me some, about 6
Okay,
that I did make, but I didn't go back and give you the copy.
Oh, okay, then
But tell
she
me what
probably
it
caught
is
it.
and I'll make sure.
first page, second to last sentence, the end of that is, a bit more so that the ferry, and if you read that sentence, I don't think so that the ferry,
Where are you
Makes
now?
sense.
I'm sorry,
first page, bottom of the page.
bottom of the page.
Yeah, and, so however that service is subject to the vagaries of the weather, often.
to them.
Yeah.
Oh, it got changed,
Yeah,
okay.
that was a Maggie. Thank you,
Alright.
Maggie.
Welcome.
I should have sent it to her first.
Another thing I would add in here, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th paragraph down, as you're aware. You know, the whole, where the ferry is parked, but the key here is, are we not the only terminal on the mainland side that isn't in a harbor? I mean, the point is, the mainland event emergencies, the reason we want it over here, and additionally, you know, no one in their right up in mind would put a fair, try to dock a ferry, you know, on an open water side of it, you know, I mean, so I think there's something to be had there, because the captains of all, everyone has said that's just not a feasible idea, because what there is gonna happen when there's a solid, like, we're good tomorrow, I think tonight, we're gonna have this very,
On the second page, it is,
Yeah.
there is sort of more specifics specifically for Lincolnville and the conditions
yeah,
there.
blow, all right, I guess that'll cover it, but yeah, because it, all right,
Good point, though.
Steve,
yeah,
to answer your question, the island off Mount Desert, the name's escaping right now, has also suggested that docking that boat on the mainland at Mount Desert is not the right thing to do at all. That we're not the only ones that have objected on that scenario.
okay, good point. What's gonna end up happening, they're gonna try to do that, then they're gonna say, well, we need a breakwater to keep it safe, or they're gonna be hiring people to bring it back over, like tonight. They're gonna say, we can't berth over there, so we have to keep everybody over here tonight. It's gonna be a very haphazard, along with this, you know, the safety.
Steve, I mentioned that to Bill Pulver, the COO of Maine DOT.
Yeah,
And he said he agreed with me, but all their engineering firms tell them that with the breakwater they have, with the wave attenuator they have proposed, which is much like the one at Islesboro, that the ferry will be safe in the Lincolnville side. Now, everybody says he's crazy, but that's his position, that their engineering firms have told them that the ferry will be safe.
okay. Good, thank you, Peter. Yeah,
You want to make a change to this? It probably means we'll have to,
no, then let's. So who is this gonna go to, just so I'm clear?
Commissioner Van Note, the Ferry Service Advisory Board. I guess would that include Bill Pulver?
I think he's in this list.
Okay,
Yes, William
all
Pulver.
right, you have the list.
Yeah.
You're.
Yeah,
Is it worth contacting, like, Village Soup or, one that shares our name, Penn Bay Pilot, and getting it published as well? Would that be like possible middle ground of that, like firing a warning shot across the bow, but without going to the governor or skipping out of that chain of command? Just by saying, look, like, this is what's happening around us, might fire up our, you know, friends and neighbors a little bit. I know Penn Bay Pilot's right everywhere from up to board down to like the acid.
Midcoast Villager too.
The Villager, that's the name, it's Village Soup turned into Villager.
Republic. There's three.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, I think they
There
combine
was some
together.
merge recently.
Yeah. Peter, is that a new hand raise?
No, I had it before, Shay. I don't know how to turn it off.
Okay.
Oh, there it goes.
That was me, Shay.
Oh.
You're getting your will talks is all mixed up. I was planning to publish it in this issue for our 600 readers, but that might not be a broad enough reach for what
No, I
Pete's
think that's good. We can take it from there and distribute that.
Yeah, I think it'd be
to the
better than
senators
us sending
and the
it.
representatives,
I think that's, be better to go circuitous rather than us pointedly sending it to the media. That's my thought.
I like the idea of sending it straight to the media.
I
That
do
way
too.
we can also show to the citizens of Islesboro, Lincolnville, that we are involved, we are doing something.
Even if it costs to put it in as a,
Right, but I think that it is helping to keep a lot of, we can tell that not a lot of people attend our meetings. But a lot of people want to have an opinion about our meetings. And at least this gives us that little bit of backbone of saying, look, we are being very proactive with it. We are trying to stay ahead of this as much as possible. And it's not cloak and daggery. I think that the more eyes that are on it, the better chance that we have with a result.
That's reasonable.
Constant contact? That goes out to everybody on our email list.
well, certainly it's good for the Islanders, but I like the public.
Just looking at the way Lincolnville was with us, like 3/4 of that meeting was Lincolnville expressing concern about us and our safety and our well-being. I think most of the towns around pretty much feel that we're all small coastal towns, we all are concerned about each other. Yeah, specifically the Island Institute towns, I think that would be like, that would be very important.
I wonder who North Haven sent it to.
Let me see.
Other than Ferry Service Advisory Board people?
Looks like they copied Bill Geary, John Emerson and Jamie Hersey, I think are the North Haven reps. Is that right? Is Jane Hersey, Peter, also a North Haven rep?
I don't recognize that name. John Emerson's the one I've been talking to the whole time. He's the
Okay,
head of the Ferry Advisory Board.
yeah, and then the Ferry Service Advisory Board members. So ours would be a little bit more comprehensive, the list, but I would feel better about sending it directly to like well, it's great to have it covered in our newspaper, I think is really important, and if Midcoast Villager or whatever they're called, once that's, I think, I feel better about that than sending it directly to the governor at this stage. Cool.
So
I'd be
Villager,
happy with that.
Penn Bay Pilot and Republican Journal?
Yeah, I think it's one,
Village Soup, I think, is the. Yeah,
Village Soup and Republican Journal are owned by the same company, but then there recently was a merge locally of Free Press and Courier Gazette, maybe.
Yeah, I
together
don't-
or something.
yeah.
And
Somebody
that's
did
where
merge.
Midcoast
That's
Villager
when
came
the
out of.
Villager popped out, and Malvern County Republican has always been, or whatever that is, Republican Journal.
Janice, I see you have your hand raised.
Would the Island Institute paper, the Working Waterfront be an option, or Penn Bay Pilot?
I love the working waterfront.
Yeah, the pilot's on our list, but the Working Waterfront's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, that has a broader distribution geographically and sort of represents a bigger, the fact that this is a much larger issue than just the mid-coast area. So, I mean, that might be a better,
Hey, Margaret, do you
In
know
addition, yeah.
what they made charge for that last one we said? Ballpark for something this big?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh.
Or,
I have no idea. Sorry.
I
But-
would think,
But Linda Clancy at the Penn Bay Pilot seems to put Islesboro forward a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a issue that she would be willing to tackle more more in depth. This would be a good starting point for that.
and I think if we just sent this to Tom Groening at the Working Waterfront, I don't know that we could guarantee that it would go in, but it could probably, could potentially go in online, and it could, something that we shared via Facebook if they don't have room in the print newspaper.
And what's his last name?
Groening,
Roning? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Tom Groening is the,
Really good writer.
It's Russ Browning, business Browning.
Yeah.
Or the main monitor is good also.
all right, so where are we at on this one then? Are we,
I think, or motion to
I would
approve.
motion, each party motion.
Go ahead.
No, take it away, we started 2 minutes ago.
Well, I think, we should put the specific language in there, so I think that we should say that, motion to send this letter, and reference it in the announcement, I'm kind of losing my thread here, so somebody else pick up this. Go ahead, go for it.
Well, the language, motion to approve letter, pending the inclusion of language referencing the letters written by the North Haven folks. Is that what we were waiting on? You're waiting on some details specifically?
Well, so
I
this,
think we're
this,
ready to go.
this was
Because if we're
informed,
just ready to go, let's just
this is,
motion to approve this letter as written and send it to our list of recipients
great.
as written or
Yeah.
to be determined.
and this was, yeah, this letter was informed by what North Haven sent to.
Second.
Any further questions, discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Excellent.
Did you second that?
Yes.
And that was motion by.
Okay, nothing else on ferry service, right, Peter?
Oh, then I'll get rid of this.
I have nothing, Shay.
Okay, great, thank you. Sea level rise update, our next meeting is, December 12th from 3 to 5. GZA will be joining us remotely to, present on the findings from the 30% design. I don't have anything further. Great questions?
When is she coming back out in person? I don't know.
Does she know I'm such a big fan?
I will make.
I am totally a little fangirl of her, and so.
I will make sure that we
Well,
let
I
you know when
I want to
she
be
is. Municipal building project?
The only update is I saw a note from, a letter from, Mert regarding wanting to have a meeting, and I think that's a great idea.
And I
sent
don't
it-
think I gave that to everybody, because he just gave that to me yesterday
Okay.
for you and.
Okay, well, Mert sent a letter to me and Pete Anderson, Anderson, and, building committee member, and Janet Anderson, and wants to have a meeting, and I think we'll set that up, and I sent a note to you as well, saying, let's do it.
Oh, I think I put a copy in your box, too.
Okay, I just,
At the bottom of your file.
we may want to split this up in the future to do the update in this building and then the update on the Up Island building.
Yes, when there's something to update, that's
Well,
right, and then there'll be an update to the renovations.
Is that what Mert's wanting to have a meeting about, is the Up Island garage?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a list of wants and don't want.
Good.
Because we did have a call on that last week.
Yeah.
Introducing me to the gang and I'm gonna follow up to try to see if I can't. Delays are always bad news. They, the more that they don't get things done, they don't get the quotes and stuff, it just opens to, worst case scenarios. So I'm gonna try starting this week, now that I'm back, to, get a call to the contractor and kind of politely push them and start to set some dates, because they said, we can pour concrete, late in the fall. Well,
We're getting to the,
late in the fall is about a week from now, and then we're in the winter, so I think we need to realistically say, okay, we're gonna do this in the spring, and what does that do? So, anyway.
Any other questions? Discussion on municipal building project? Okay, upcoming meetings and subcommittee reports, planning board December 16th. Any other meetings or subcommittee reports?
We have IMB on the 17th at 3. Housing on the 19th at 5 o'clock. Oh, energy on the 10th at 5:15.
Town managers report?
All right, I've given you, minutes from the November 19th Alice L. Pellington Library trustee meeting. And, draft minutes of the Brindle Point Parking Committee that was just last November 25th meeting. Two birds, I know, and we have the Bar Harbor Wealth Management November Capital Reserve sub-accounting report. And that's all I have.
Can I ask a question about this I know it's set for next meeting my understanding, I guess my question is, I knew that there was a specific process to change ordinances. But I thought it ultimately had to end with a town meeting. I thought at a previous meeting we'd said no, but then this
That's
still
right.
says an amendment to the ordinance, to an ordinance, so I just
It
wanna,
is an ordinance, but it's an ordinance that select boards can manage.
okay,
It does not have to be voted on at town meeting.
okay.
Towns are in charge of their vehicles and traffic ordinances.
Okay. So that's the
But it still
that's the category that
Yes.
does not
Yeah.
require us to a town
Yeah, so
meeting.
the first I talked, 'cause I know I think ordinance, but then I talked with, and I figured it out, and I told everybody that it
You know,
didn't have to be. but-
Yeah, no, I know you said it didn't have to be, I just didn't understand.
So you
seeing
still have
the
to
ordinance
set it up
change.
like an ordinance, you have to post it a week ahead of time, and that's why I had posted it last week, so people in town, and I think Tina might have sent it out on Facebook or Constant Contact, which I can check with her, but we posted it last week, well, excuse me, December 2nd. And attached, you're supposed to attach a copy of the actual ordinance, and we have extra ones up front for people to come in if they wanna see one or look at it, but I was gonna speak to this, cause I'm giving it to you tonight, because you have time to look at it. And anything that I corrected or changed, excuse me, which is, the board, the committee approved, it was just, it's in red on this. We changed from select man to select board, things like that. I highlighted for myself mostly this amendment, about amendments. This article may be amended by the select board at any properly noticed meeting. That's right in this ordinance. And we changed the name of a homeowner, who used to own the house next to the Brindle Point. It was Phillips, now it's Swanson. And under, I've added O after N for reserved. So there were 4 reserved spaces for the Main State Ferry Service. Now, there's going to be 5. And select board,
And we don't have to vote on that at all, I mean.
it's gonna come up in a meeting, next meeting. It's gonna be like you will talk about it, and if the committee's here, if they wanna talk about it, if anybody from the public is here. And if there's no changes made to what I've done, then you vote on that, and then it is going to be the law.
The law.
Wow,
Yes.
as much. There's really nothing controversial in the changes. Now, at some point, the committee go back and make changes and things, but these are things that I've been wanting to get updated for a couple of years, but again, that committee hadn't met in a couple of, that's why I said they needed to meet to go over this, so.
Good.
We don't do things behind their back. That's how I don't know.
Oh, it's fine. Good.
But I sent you a notice about that meeting. Did you not receive it? And I think I sent this plus that
I did see some,
for their meeting, for their committee meeting. So, because I explained you were the one that brought to me that request.
right,
Well, I usually have, like I said, usually people send me something in writing, and so they believe me. I'm not just making this up. So, didn't believe it? You believe I made it up? So anyway,
Any other questions for Janet? All right, correspondence. Just today, I got an email from Harriet from the Energy Committee, wanting to make sure that the select board knew that the Energy Committee is working on a grant to submit, I believe it was to DOE for $50,000. And I don't think they're looking for a letter of support, but they just wanted to make us aware and make sure that there weren't any questions or concerns. So thought now would be a good time to bring it up. So they, I know, I'm sure, are working hard in the next couple of weeks to get that submitted. And I see Janice here online. So Janice, if there's anything in particular that you want to add to.
Yes, it's money for planning, but the big thing with this grant is once you get it, you're in the pipeline for their system, and your chances of getting money for actual projects goes way up then. And there's also another grant that's bigger that we're going to be applying for from a different agency. And these two things are very, the planning for both is very similar. So we're just going to go ahead and keep plugging away, trying to get money for community solar and microgrid type projects. And that's also why we're having the, information session at the ICC on Saturday. So if people in town have questions about what we're doing, they have a chance to ask them.
Can I ask a question? Janice, who is going to be managing these grants?
Well, they would be, if, knock on wood that we get them, they would be granted to the town. So that, I mean, that's a good question. The town would get the money. So I assume the town wouldn't have to manage them. Is that a problem?
Not per se. Are you getting an island fellow? Is that something that is?
We are also applying for an island fellow, but that's not due until the end of January. So why do you ask that?
About the fellow? I'm wondering if that person could manage the grants. I mean, and here in the town, I mean, I have several little grants and some couple of big ones that we're just trying to manage, and it would be nice if, and there's several other committees that would like to have grants, if they could figure out a way to manage it themselves. I mean, I know the money comes here, but there's a lot of reporting that goes on with, it's great to get the money, but then there's a lot of reporting, but we don't have to talk about that now.
I will bring that up with our group when we meet.
I know Cressica knows how I feel, so if she's involved, she'll understand, because she's being helpful right now still with this CDS grant.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for the committee without talking to them about it, but it seems like we're not accountants, we are volunteers, so that's my personal take on that. So managing large amounts of money for the town is a little overwhelming to me personally, but I will ask our committee what they think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably is worth, as you're going through the application process, to just maybe set aside a time to talk with Brian and Janet about each grant has different levels of detail that are required, both on the programmatic end for reporting and on the financial end for reporting, and just wanting to have clear understanding and expectations set up going into the application process to understand who's responsible for which of those pieces is really important and makes it a lot easier. I know on the financial reporting, if you know what you have to report on at the end of the grant so that you can be tracking it in an easy way to report back on is really helpful. So I think just probably the more communication, the better on the front end to make sure that it goes smoothly on the back end. And, hopefully it means we can be more competitive and bring in more money. So
that makes complete sense. I will do that, or we will do that.
Any other questions for Janice? All right, with that, no old business, no new business, no other business. We can approve warrant number 12. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions, discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Go this way for a change. I'm screwed up.
But it has to end with Janet. That's why it always goes that way.
Or left-hand side, okay, come on now. You've gotta go there.
Now you get to see my epic frisbee throw.
Oh, gosh, please don't talk about it.
Don't be going, Janet.
Well, that's for anybody who wants to review it prior to signing, so I usually send it around with that. This guy needs a seat change.
Were you here for the ferry update?
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to, I'm just here in case anyone has any issues with that.
Yeah, so you
That's
came up at the
phenomenal.
perfect time because we started at 5:30.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I noticed actually this meeting announcement says 6, so.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. I didn't change it, sorry. Okay, well, now we have to do a brief recap.
Yeah, so it was approved unanimously.
Okay.
The majority of the discussion was around who to send it to.
That's one of the reasons I came, and I'm glad, I was just got off the phone with John Emerson.
Oh, excellent.
So,
And
because
one
I
of,
wanted to know what the status of the North Haven, communication was. And to the best of his knowledge, they haven't heard anything back yet. I told him what I would suggest to you is perhaps send a copy to Mr. McDonald at North Haven, the chair of their select board, since we're referencing his letter. A copy to the Lincolnville Select Board, because we met with them and they've expressed concerns that we referenced in this letter. And maybe a copy just to John Emerson, and then maybe consider asking Peter Wilcox to send copies to all the serviced island representatives,
Advisory board, you mean?
the advisory board.
I think I've got some, but we'll make sure, I'll confirm.
Yeah. There was also some discussion about if we could send it to media outlets to raise some broader awareness.
I think that might be a little, this is just me, so because it's your letter, you do with it whatever you want, but I think it might be a little premature, because I think the other islands, meaning, I think Vinyl Haven and Swans are as, as interested in this issue as are we in North Haven. And if we generate an interest there, I think, speaking in one voice, if all the serviced islands spoke, I mean, Tinnicus is not relevant, but the other islands are all interested, as I understand it, in this issue. And if we speak with one voice, then it might, if you want to go in that direction, it might have more impact. For what that's worth.
Good.
I just personally, from my own opinion, as you all know, my opinion of the State Ferry Service DOT, I don't think we should wait on anyone else. I think we're coming into a pretty crucial juncture here, it feels like, with this. It seems safe to assume that these other islands that have already been communicating with us are on our side. And I don't think, I mean, if we meet every 2 weeks, and then North Island meets every 2 weeks, and we're off schedule, everything can be 6 weeks before we're making our next move. And then it's Christmas, then it's the New Year. I would be hesitant to wait to form a unified thing, because I think it's sort of an unspoken unity already. In my personal opinion.
My opinion also agrees with Pete. I think that our letter is very strongly worded. I think that it is a unified opinion of what we have heard from the other islands. And I think that this, if we put it out to the media outlets, this helps other people in North Haven, Vinyl Haven, and around Rockland, all of the other areas, to be aware of what is going on. And it might help spark them to have these important conversations with their select board and their advisors also. Of they're doing this, what are we doing? And it could help them become a stronger unified force with us. Because I don't want it to look, my big thing is I don't want it to look like we're just sending it and we're done. If we can show that we're being public with it, that we're wanting to get the support, that this is what we are doing and we are putting forth our effort, I think that it works more in the favor to the citizens of each one of these islands and surrounding counties.
The only thing I would say is, because I can really hear that point of view, is that a better result, which we can't control, which is your point. I mean, this way we're putting it out there. A better result could be that media picks it up because they're hearing from multiple islands and they're going, this is a story. And having a story written by, not Matt, Brewing,
Tom.
Tom, and, or the writers of some of these newspapers, them picking it up and writing it rather than us using space and more or less giving it to them. They will print it because we pay them to place it, as opposed to them going after it as a story. But I'm not resisting, because I can see the value of both sides.
So I actually feel like we could do, we can share it with the media in a way that does that isn't saying like, please publish this, but saying, hey, this is a major concern of our community and of other communities. And
Just to give
we
you a
would
heads
be,
up.
right, we would be happy if this was an issue that you wanted to cover in future.
That would work for me. That would work.
And I think, you know, I would be happy to have a conversation with Tom about, you know, to what degree he'd be willing to cover it, you know, and share, you know, share the article as an information piece. And, you know, ultimately we can't control what they publish and what they don't publish, so.
I respect everybody's opinion. I think there are pros and cons to both. The one thing I would caution you though, is if you do share it, we make reference to the North Haven letter and Mr. McDonald's letter. So if we share it, I would definitely, recommend giving them a heads up so that if the phone calls start coming in, at least they'll know what in the world's going on.
Good point.
But I just completely leave it to you folks, whatever you think is best.
I think I agree with Pete. I mean, I'm a little more aggressive on things like this than some, so. You know, I've been working with them, hasn't worked at all. They're very, I mean, I saw something on Facebook today, the new ferry pictures. I mean, you know, they're just moving it along. The only thing's ever gonna change if there's enough public opinion.
Yeah.
And someone's gotta take the lead, in my opinion. And, you know, and I think we're the group to put it on. I do absolutely agree with you. Anybody referencing that should be told ahead of time, and we're gonna, you know, so they're warned, and then just put it out there and push and be the front end of the spear.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it probably makes sense to call both John Emerson and also the town of Lincolnville, just because of the conversation that we had, just to let them know how we are responding, as a result of the communication from our joint meeting with them.
But another thing I've been asking permission to do this, but something more so that we're telling them that we are.
Right,
because
no,
it's a
right, no,
public-
this is more, right.
Just because I don't want to, I don't want to open the door.
No, I'm not asking for permission. I'm saying-
You know what, take my name out, I don't want, you know.
No, that's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for just a conversation to say, hey,
You know.
this is a heads up, this is what we're doing. If you have any questions about it, I'm happy to answer questions,
Because it's a
but,
public document once
Right.
we send
Right.
it, so it doesn't matter. It's just a courtesy.
right.
Yeah, no,
And by the way, just since John is here again, I mean, as I sent you a note, this is just a brilliant letter. And I loved, as you got more into, you know, like, this is so
favorite
much for having
paragraph
a
is the last one.
conversation.
Well,
It's really well done.
I did mention after we met that, you know, we could take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit, but,
No,
that's,
this is the letter that we're.
Yeah, by the
He's
way,
happy to write a letter for somebody else to
you
sign.
know what, I wish I could sign, but,
we did vote you back in, but
Yeah.
that's fine, I just think, one thing, make sure so we don't run into any issues, I see it's dated today, so that's good, because the other one was dated September.
Oh.
The one where we were trying to figure out, did we send this?
Oh,
around?
that one.
So we wanna make sure we send it.
Yes,
But
it's going in
I think- And you might do a little cover letter that says that we're sending, you know, a copy has been sent to North Haven, to the town of Lincolnville, and to whomever else we decide to send it to.
You've got to lift them all on.
Well, and again, that's fine.
We're shouting from the rooftops.
Yeah.
You're really lucky I'm not standing out there with a sign.
Did we say no to the governor finally, or what
Yes.
was the
Yes.
decision on that? Okay.
No governor, yes, Golden, yes, news outlets. Local news outlets. And Island Institute, Working Waterfront.
Does someone want to talk to the working waterfront, who knows?
Yeah, you got Tom,
I
right?
mean, I can get his, find his email. But
I can send it to all of the sports media outlets. That's the only connection I have.
Is, Susan Collins on that list?
should she be?
Well, she's supposedly gonna be the head of the appropriations committee.
So I guess my question is, if we send it to Golden and Collins, then is it even more insulting that we don't send it to the governor? So we sort of,
Well, that's a good point.
I feel like we may, I would
Going
sort of
around
hold off the governor and the federal
Federal guys.
yes, senators and
Delegation.
delegation, yes.
She wants to hold that in her back pocket.
That's not a bad idea.
I did-
mean, you know, and if you generate some press, then.
Then
shoot-
it's a good
shoot it
time
off
to-
The delegation too.
I think we may want to stay with I guess that's how I feel, is that we should stay with Bruce Van Note and sort of, and then go next level up.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Is that comfortable for people?
Yeah.
I have no further comments.
Okay.
Thanks, John.
I did, I did pass along to John, that.
You are John.
John Emerson. That the folks over here who had read the North Haven letter was very impressed by it. So, it was a good letter. So, okay, sorry, I didn't mean to keep it.
No.
Glad
Well,
to have you.
You're here for the last words.
Yeah.
Lauren, do you have any further?
Thank you, John. Excellent letter.
Congrats to the Energy Committee.
Yeah.
Love this grant.
Awesome.
Good work.
Clear.
ICS's winter concert is tomorrow night, full of fun for K through 12, also known as the 4-hour winter concert. It will be good. We did manage to finally secure the ferry at 7 o'clock. So there's no excuse not to come and see the big kids with a very, very amazing play and performance that they're going to put on. It will also be live streamed for anybody who is sick and unable to attend.
That's why you didn't say anything.
And.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Those in favor? Aye.
Aye. I'm choosing the number all. Okay, for anybody who didn't know, this is my mom, Valerie. She came to see, the wheels of motion had been.